Okay. It says we are live this morning. My name's Mandy and I'm with Project Recovery Iowa. And today I have with me Griffin, and she's going to be talking to us about smoking cessation. Griffin's from Pathways Behavioral Services and working primarily under our CCBHC grant, which helps all of the Pathways clients with all kinds of wellness needs, including smoking cessation. So she has a PowerPoint with us today, and she's going to share her screen, and I'll just give you a little bit of background about Project Recovery Iowa. Came about when the pandemic was declared a disaster, and we have been offering free emotional counseling support to any Iowans in the event of a disaster, like a tornado, a flood, a pandemic, a derecho. Oftentimes there's an increased need for emotional support. So that is what we've been doing for the last 2 years. And then connecting with people like Griffin so that we can share resources to those people that we help. So smoking cessation. You're a certified wellness coach and the community prevention educator at Pathways. Anything you want to share about your title before you get started? I know you've been with us before, and so a repeat is totally okay. You never know who's watching, so.
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, as a certified wellness coach, I work with our clients at Pathways. We're enrolled in the CCBHC that you mentioned. So with all types of wellness, I do coaching with all types of wellness, whether that's disease management or smoking cessation or just, increasing physical activity or wanting to eat healthier. So with the smoking cessation part, I get referrals for anyone who is interested in quitting using the tobacco or nicotine products. So I work with them one-on-one. Typically I see them, once every other week, sometimes monthly, sometimes weekly. It just depends.
Okay. And when you say tobacco or nicotine, does that mean they're basically one and the same?
So I include tobacco and nicotine because when I think of those products, tobacco is mostly, your cigarettes, your chewing tobacco, the little snus pouches, and then with the new vaping devices. So technically they don't have tobacco in them, but they have nicotine. So it's just, I like to cover all of those products when I talk about them.
Got it. Thank you. I'll let you go through your slides since you're the one sharing your screen if you want to go for the next one. I see it.
Like too much. So I am just here to share some tips for quitting smoking. So it does say tips for quitting smoking, and it did say, the smoking cessation on the front. So cessation just means quitting, just a fancy word for quitting. And I just use smoking just kind of as a overall term, but these tips can be helpful for anyone wanting to, again, quit using the tobacco or nicotine products. So whether that's vaping, whether that's chewing tobacco, whether that's cigarettes or cigars, any of those products, these tips can be helpful. So first off, this is not on my slides, but having a quit date can be something that's super helpful. And when I say a quit date, trying to pick a day that, that kind of wants to be your end all for smoking. So send it, setting it so it's a couple months in advance, maybe. Some people might be ready in a month, some people might take them a little longer. But setting a date that has some sort of significance. So I've had people, some of my clients in the past choose birthdays, whether it's their birthday, whether it's a spouse's birthday, a child's birthday. I've had people choose holidays, they want to quit smoking by Christmas or Thanksgiving. I've had other clients just pick anniversary or something. So having, the first of the month is okay if that's something that someone's going to think, okay, I want to be done quitting by, January 1st. I guess that's a holiday too, but, just a random first of the month. But, picking a more significant day can be helpful. And then making a plan. So you have your date in mind and now making a plan. We've all heard the term like cold turkey. Some people can just be done. And, they buy a pack of cigarettes one day and then they can throw them in the trash the next day and just be done and never look at them again. For most people, it's a lot harder than that. So yes, that first is setting that quit date and then making a plan. So these tips will walk through, how to do that and what you can do when you're working your way towards your quit date. So make your environment.
That quit date, I'm thinking that might be, when you talk about picking a significant one, it seems like that might be helpful as far as motivation. And then I'm also thinking already like an anniversary, another goal, even a year down the line to celebrate that first anniversary.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry. I always tell my clients, you need to celebrate. You need to celebrate a week of not smoking or using tobacco nicotine products, celebrate a month, celebrate. You got to celebrate those wins because it is a really hard substance. I mean, the nicotine itself, it changes your brain. It rewires your brain and makes your brain just want that substance. So to be able to overcome that is a really good feat, even if it is one day, celebrate that one day that you didn't smoke and then 2 days and 3 days. So it's a big deal. So yes, absolutely. Not only setting that quit date, but yeah, making sure you're celebrating those anniversaries of your quitting. So yeah, some things you can do to make sure to kind of help you along the way, making sure your environment works for you and not for smoking. So what I mean by this is to change things in your home, your car, your workplace that make it easier for you to quit. So if you have lighters or ashtrays, matches lying around, those things signal your brain, okay, I use a lighter to light my cigarette. I have an ashtray for my cigarette. So getting rid of some of those things. Same thing as, getting rid of your vaping cartridges or your vape pens, cans of chew as well. So getting those things, away, out of your sight, out of mind. Some people find it helpful, washing their clothes, cleaning their carpets, cleaning out their car. If some people, they only smoke in their car, well, get your car a good cleaning, and then it might make you, think twice before smoking again in your car, since you just spent all that time cleaning out the smell and the residue that's left over from smoking. Telling people communication is huge, so they can support you. So avoiding those places where you might smoke. So it might be, okay, well, I smoke when I drink. So, tonight I might not go, to that bar or to that friend's garage to sit and drink, and just letting them know, hey, I'm not going to come over tonight because I'm trying to quit smoking. People will be supportive of you, even if they're not ready to quit. If someone is ready to quit, they can definitely support you in that. Just asking people not to smoke around you, or say, okay, if you're going to smoke, I'm going to step away. So just really communicating to people what you're doing and why you're doing it. Also, it's important, not only, if your group of friends smoke or use vaping devices, to tell them that you're quitting, but, having those people to support you. So when you're having a craving or an urge, making sure that person knows, like, hey, I might call you, if I'm having a bad day or if I need to talk. Having someone to go for a walk with or just watch a movie. Also, letting your help. Oh, go ahead.
I have another question. Sorry, we must have a slight delay today, but I'm wondering about like how long a craving might last. Like, I'm not a smoker, but I might have a craving for candy. That would be one. And I noticed that if I can distract myself for, I don't know, I've never timed it, but at like an extended period of time, then my craving might go away.
They say like 3 to 5 minutes is what I've read from professionals. Like a craving can last 3 to 5 minutes. So just doing something for 3 to 5 minutes, whether that is, calling a friend, even just sending a text message, if they're at work or something. But yeah, doing something else to distract yourself. But yeah, 3 to 5 minutes. If you can make it through that, that's a big win. So another part that I think is important, I don't know a lot of people that do this, is to tell their healthcare team. So whether that's counselor, doctor, dentist, letting them know that you're quitting smoking. They can be a huge encouragement for you. They can provide additional, resources as well. We'll talk about some of those resources, but letting those people know that are part of your healthcare team is a big one. Also just watching out for temptation. So even, this might be avoiding, the grocery stores or certain grocery stores or certain aisles where they keep the cigarettes. Or tobacco vaping devices, maybe not going into certain convenience stores, getting your pop through the drive-through as opposed to going in a convenience store where you might be tempted to grab some of those products. Certain public places where smoking is allowed. Just try to avoid some of those places. If you get mailings, promotional mailings or texts or emails for some of those products that you buy, try to opt out of those services, because again, if you're getting a message and you're seeing those products and it's a deal or a sale, trying not just avoid that so you're not tempted to make that purchase. So this kind of goes back to cravings. So just distracting yourself. So like Mandy asked, yeah, it can be 3 to 5 minutes between, or those cravings can be 3 to 5 minutes. So it's just finding something to do. In those times when you're having those urges or cravings, it might feel like that's the only thing, like your brain is just going after that. And that is true. I mean, your brain is really just wanting, that hit of nicotine. So if you can just think about, okay, what else is happening around me? So what am I hearing? What am I seeing? What am I smelling? What's going on? What's my coworker doing? What's going on outside? What's my dog barking at? Like really anything, trying to look into your other senses and just really feel other things to try to avoid yourself or avoid that situation. So yeah, just focus on something else, whether that's something interesting, important, different, pull up your music and listen to some music, go for a walk, other form of physical activity, riding a bike, really whatever you like. I mentioned before, call, text a friend or a family member, do a puzzle, read a book, really just it's all distracting. It's kind of a big mind game when you're having those cravings or urges. And just practicing them too. So having a list of your distractions, a list of those things that you're going to do when you kind of start to feel, it could even be that nicotine withdrawal too. So you might feel a little edgy, a little anxious. Have a list of things that you can do to help in that situation. Just again, some more tips. So finding safe substitutes for cigarettes. And again, it's not just cigarettes. This is chewing tobacco, cigars, vaping, lots of, just all of those, the nicotine tobacco products. Some people find it's really like a hand or a mouth thing. So if they can get something in their hand, something in their mouth, that can be helpful. So toothpicks or straws, rubber bands, I say fidget devices, there's lots of new ones. My daughter was playing with these, something that you can just mess with your hands. I think all my work stuff's next to me. So something, you can just play with, bend with, that stuff can be helpful. Those, squeeze stress balls. There is some research that suggests like crunchy vegetables. So carrots or celery can be something that can help people. I don't know if it's just like a healthier snack alternative, but the crunch of those vegetables seems to kind of take the edge off those cravings or urges. So it's really just finding something. I always have a rubber band on my wrist. A deck of playing cards, stuff like that, whatever people find helpful. Some people just need a pen, they can have a pen and they can mess with it. But yeah, lots of different things. I've learned a lot of new ones over the years. I've been working with clients, what people like to do. But yeah, something is just, even for in the mouth, like gum or mints. Some people will do like hard candy, licorice, stuff like that. So it really is trying a bunch of things and then seeing what works for you.
As I'm sitting here at my desk, the pen thing, I'm thinking, well, if I had a craving right here and now, like, what could I do? I have gadgets sitting around me too for work-related reasons, but I actually thought of that pen. Like, what if I just pulled a pen out and started to take it all apart and then try to put it back together? That could take several minutes, right? Or maybe be impossible. But I also thought about, cleaning out a pencil drawer if you're at home or something. And then the straw thing made me think, if what if you had like a smaller straw and just drinking, water? Would that be too similar, or would something like that work too?
I have people that will literally take, the normal size straw and they'll cut it in half. So it's the same half as a cigarette and they will just kind of suck and blow through it. So they are, mimicking it. But they have found that it's helpful. So it's really whatever works for people. And that's why, trying different things and having these devices, or like you said, looking around your house, um, you probably have something that you could use for a time when you're having a craving or an urge.
Mm-hmm. It's no magic wand, and then whatever works, it works for you. It sounds really individualized, which is good to know.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's so many things out there, and I always keep learning as I talk to more people, what worked for them.
Mm-hmm.
So here are some resources. So in the state of Iowa, My Life, My Quit is the just smoking cessation, tobacco cessation resource for teens. So you have to be under the age of 18. The My Life, My Quit is the resource. So it's 12 to 17-year-olds. So it's free, it's confidential. It's also a text service. So this number here, you can text, you can visit their website, and they have a little chat box that pops up as well. So it's super handy. And it is nice that it is confidential. Some, teens may not want their parents to know that they're vaping, and so they want to quit. So this resource will help with that. The Quit coaches are all certified. It's run through National Jewish Health, so it's a big hospital organization. So they take the calls, the text. There's lots of resources online as well, and not just for people wanting to quit, but for providers and educators as well. So I use this resource all the time. I promote this resource. It's a great resource, like I said, for 12 to 17-year-olds.
So I have two questions. I'm thinking, is this your last slide maybe? Because I have two questions. One was, you said to make sure, oh, is there one more? To make sure and talk to your healthcare team providers. As far as like a prescription to help you with stopping, can you speak to that a little bit?
A little bit, and yes. So I am not sure. So there are the nicotine replacement therapies. So obviously all the stuff that we talked about is helpful, but there are, so they're called nicotine replacement therapies. And that is like the nicotine patch, the nicotine gum, the nicotine lozenge. To my knowledge, I thought you had to be 18 to use those products. So that's why talking to a healthcare provider would be helpful. And I meant to talk to one of my pharmacist friends to see what the age was, if they're approved, for people younger than 18. But there are those products. And then there's medications as well. So Chantix is the big one. Wellbutrin can also be used. So that's why it's important to talk to your healthcare provider in case your insurance covers some of the nicotine replacement therapy, or, to get the medications prescribed. And yes, even if you're a teen, I suggest still reaching out and seeing what you can use. But okay, so I'm going to go to my next slide, and then we'll see if this answers your question. So Quitline, Iowa is for people over the age of 18. So it's the same concept. It's all run through National Jewish Health. So it is a website, it's phone calls. They have a chat box on their site as well. I was at a meeting last week, and we were told that Quitline, Iowa can prescribe the nicotine replacement therapy. So whether that's the patch, the gum, or the lozenge is like a cough drop that has the nicotine in it, for 8 weeks. So through Quitline, Iowa, and that's why I was thinking it was 18 and older. It's because through Quitline, you can get the nicotine replacement therapy if your insurance does not cover it. So they'll ask you questions, and they'll ask you if you're interested, and then they will help you to get those nicotine replacement therapies, the NRTs, if your insurance does not cover it.
Okay, so does that mean I could get this lozenge or be prescribed Wellbutrin and not need any of your tips or tricks?
No, actually, there's lots of research, and even on Quitline Iowa's website, on my Life My Quit website, having a quit coach plus, doing these things on the side, it just really increases your likelihood of quitting. With Quitline, they really encourage the coaching, the nicotine replacement therapy, and then the other resources they provide that we've talked about. Really just having like a toolbox full of tools that can help you. Because like I said before, that nicotine, it's an addictive substance, and it rewires your brain and makes it really hard for people to stop, even though they want to. But yeah, just slapping the patch on is not gonna end your smoking or vaping. There's a little bit more to it, and more things that you can do.
Very good. So this isn't necessarily a great question to end on, but I think you're going to return to us and talk to us about vaping. We're going to do a Facebook Live just on vaping, but I'm wondering if so vaping isn't all about just getting the nicotine, right? Like vaping, I think you talked about it just kind of being this whole entity in itself with a lot of nuances that are specific to vaping. But if you're using vaping to get the nicotine, a lot of these things you mentioned here today would be helpful. Is that right?
Absolutely. And really, my Life, My Quit came about because of the increase in youth vaping. So we know through, lots of research that we've done that a lot of youth they're not smoking cigarettes, they're not using chewing tobacco, they are vaping. So my Life, My Quit was actually created to help. It's any tobacco nicotine product, but specifically for vaping. So yes, vaping in itself, it does not have tobacco in it. It has nicotine in it, which again is an addictive substance, and a whole other, a ton other chemicals, cancer that are, still cancer causing like tobacco, like some of the tobacco products. So yes, we will have a discussion on vaping.
Awesome. That will be really helpful. I don't remember if we have it scheduled in June or July, but we'll certainly let everybody know because I have a lot of questions about vaping, so I'm sure other people do too. So we'll appreciate that conversation later. If there's any questions for Griffin, so Zoom has been interesting. I don't see any questions in the chat right now, but if there's any in there, I'll make sure and relay those to her later, and she can get back to us. So thank you. I'll put these resources in the comments section to your links to Quitline Iowa and the teen one as well. It sounds like, so could teens, if they're having that craving, like get on that chat, the teen chat, and that might be a good use of that too, I was thinking.
Yeah, absolutely. So both of these are like programs. So My Life, My Quit, and Quitline Iowa, they have programs. So you can enroll in these programs and you'll get a quit coach, and you can do, the texting, the email, the phone calls. But yeah, if someone is just, maybe trying on their own and they want to reach out, obviously enrolling in the program would be super helpful. But yeah, the chat is always available. It's 24/7 chat for both services. So someone's always available to talk.
Awesome. Really good information, Griffin. Thank you so much. Thanks for your time and putting together the PowerPoint. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Have a good day.